Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Zabrowski, and I'm here today with Damien Ramos, who is my friend. He got me started in cryptocurrencies, and I've been successfully trading for about 3 or 4 months now. And Damien has been trading cryptocurrency for over 4 years, very successfully. He has a large portfolio. And I would call him a cryptocurrency expert. I've called him that for a long time. For the time that I've been trading cryptocurrencies, he just, once you hear him talk, you'll know that he knows what he's talking about. And so today, this conversation, this is kind of like an interview. This conversation came out of a couple of people recently who have asked me questions about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because there's been this talk through the media that Bitcoin is seeing its last day, so to speak. I've heard some of that, and I had one person ask me last night. I had another person ask me today, and the one person who asked me today, he sent me an article that he had read. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start reading this article, which was done by MarketWatch. And as I'm reading it, Damien is going to jump in whenever he wants to jump in and comment relative to what I'm saying, which is read here in this article. So I'm going to start this. Let me share my screen. So this was the article. Now this article was done by MarketWatch, and just right off the bat, I want to share with you who MarketWatch is. Can you see that I changed my screen, Damien? Can you see about MarketWatch?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. So this little paragraph here describes MarketWatch, and I'm just going to get you to focus here on the last sentence of this paragraph. It says, MarketWatch is part of Dow Jones Media Group, which includes Barron's.com, Financial News London, Moneyish, and Mansion Global. Okay, now that to me says that they are an established media group. An establishment media in America has taken on the name of being fake news, okay? Establishment media is run by establishment people, the oligarchy, people who love actually monopolistic. They like monopolies in business. They want to control the world. Many of them are international bankers, and they want to do it their way. They love their system because they have made multi-billions, if not trillions of dollars off of it. And so here they have their little channel of media, and they're talking to us about Bitcoin, which now is one of their greatest competitors. So I'm going to start reading this article right now. All right. So it's entitled "Opinion: Bitcoin, Ether, and Other Cryptocurrencies May Be Seeing the Beginning of the End." And Damien, you just cut in whenever you want to and stop me. This was by Brett Arends. And by the way, I just want to preface by saying, if you get a chance to read this article, be sure to go to the comments below this article and see what others have to say about it as I'm scrolling through it. There's virtually endless comments, and you can get a feel for what others have had to say about it. Okay? So you've made a ton of money from Bitcoins, Ether, and other cryptocurrencies. Sure, they've defied the doomsayers time and again, which likely makes this week's shocking plunge in Bitcoin and Ether just another buying opportunity. That's where you may be wrong. The sudden Chinese crackdown on Bitcoin that caused the plunge is either the end of the beginning for the crypto party, or more likely the beginning of the end. If you're holding cryptocurrencies today, remember that no matter how much money you think you've made, you haven't paid a nickel until you cashed it out. And you might want to think twice or even thrice about the rising risks. China took steps on Monday to stop initial coin offerings, or ICOs. These are crypto bubble equivalent of the infamous IPOs during the late 1990s .com mania. Additionally, okay, I'm going to stop. Go ahead, Damien.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to be pointed out is this when it talks about the shocking plunge, right? So when we talk about the shocking plunge in Bitcoin and Ethereum, one of the things that I will point people's attention to is the 12-month progression of both Ethereum and Bitcoin. So if you could really quick just go to CoinMarketCap real quick so that we can show a side-by-side comparison of what's happened in these cryptocurrencies over just the past 12 months.
Okay, one moment.
Yeah, you want to open up two windows of CoinMarketCap.
Okay. Okay, so I'm there. You direct me.
So go ahead and open up one more window on CoinMarketCap so we can do a side-by-side comparison.
All right. Okay.
So the first window, we see the prices of, we're just going to take, the top 5 cryptocurrencies right now listed on CoinMarketCap. We see Bitcoin is at 45.91, Ethereum 332. Bitcoin Cash, that's going to be a little unique because it's not a year old yet. Ripple at 22 cents and Litecoin at $79. Okay, so now go to your second window on crypto on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah.
Now I want you to go to tools. Right there. Mm-hmm.
Which one? There's the.
Click on historical snapshots.
Okay.
And then we're going to go back around 1 year ago. So September of last year.
You want to go right at the beginning here? 04?
Yeah, that's fine. Right. So that's right about 1 year ago.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to take a look at those same cryptocurrencies and where they were 12 months ago. So we see Bitcoin at less than $600 a year ago, Ethereum at $11 a year ago, Ripple at not even a penny a year ago, and Litecoin at less than $4. So go ahead and click on the other tab again.
Okay.
And look at where those same cryptocurrencies are now. Okay. Almost, so around 8 times, 8x on Bitcoin. I don't even know how many times up the Ethereum is. Ripple from not even a penny just 12 months ago to 22 cents now. So that's over 22 times it's up.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay.
No, that's fine. And Litecoin from for not even $4 a year ago to almost $80 today. So when we talk about a recent plunge, the first thing that comes to mind is that plunge that we saw briefly of Bitcoin crashing all the way down to around 4,000 is all relevant. So for those of us that are long and bullish on these cryptocurrencies that have been acquiring them for many months or many years, we see that the prices are extremely high and they would have to crash significantly even to get back to where they were just a year ago. So that would be the first thing that I would point out. But we can go back to the article now.
Okay. All right, so I'll continue reading.
Well, before that, there's something else that I want to look at here. Even the point that was made about, if you're holding cryptocurrencies today, I'm sorry, the part that says about joining, having this buying opportunity in Bitcoin, well, there was a buy opportunity because, again, if you had purchased these cryptocurrencies on what was called Bloody Monday and you held to today, you would have made a significant profit in most of the cryptocurrencies where all the markets seem to be red on Monday. Now, most, if not all of those markets are green today. And so we do see situations where people will panic sell, right? Oh, China is cracking down on the ICOs. Well, that news drives the market, so people will panic sell. And, smart, in my opinion, smart traders or smart investors were able to buy up a lot of those coins for pennies on the dollar, and now they're in profit today. So just in the 24 to 48 hours, we might have seen a transfer of wealth where people were exiting out of the markets because they didn't know what to expect. And now those same people, if they want to get back into the market, they're going to have to buy back their own coins at a premium. So this kind of news could be dangerous. Not to say not to take this news into consideration, but however, if you're letting the headlines of the news determine what you're going to do, it could actually work against you, in this particular instance. Now, going more specifically to the crackdown on Bitcoin, I don't remember reading anything about a crackdown on Bitcoin per se, as opposed to a crackdown on ICOs. And more specifically, there was an article that came out, I'd have to get it to you guys, about the ICOs that are under investigation by the Chinese government. And when you look at those particular ICOs, there's about 60 of them. Most of them are what I would consider pump and dump schemes, right? They have no real world value behind them. I didn't recognize a single cryptocurrency on that particular list. So one of the things that I educate people too is that if you're going to consider diversifying and buying into these altcoins, and the altcoin stands for anything that it's a short term for anything that's not Bitcoin, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what does this particular cryptocurrency do in terms of bringing real world value that Bitcoin doesn't? Well, if you look at the list of ICOs that the Chinese government is specifically going after and demanding that those particular ICOs refund their money, again, they represent coins that may not have any real world value or any real world use case. So to just kind of throw out the blanket statement as, that there's this crackdown on cryptocurrencies, well, that's not necessarily true. There may be very specific cryptocurrencies that the Chinese government is cracking down on. I don't think that you'll find that Bitcoin is one of them. As a matter of fact, most of the Bitcoin that is being traded today is traded in Chinese yuan, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. So you can continue.
So basically, when China says that they're cracking down on the ICOs, you're saying that it's just subject to certain ICOs. It's not.
Well, what we've seen is that because anybody can create a cryptocurrency, because it's just code. Anybody can make their own cryptocurrency nowadays, and because of that, and because of the lack of education in the market about what these ICOs are, and you have a lot of people that are looking to get rich quick, and they see something exciting, and they're being taught, you might have missed the Bitcoin boat, but we have this new project, and you can get involved, and we project that this particular ICO is going to go up 5-10x. They're kind of basically taking advantage of the general public's ignorance and creating these ICOs, these cryptocurrencies out of nowhere, raising hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and is nothing more than a pump and dump. That, in my opinion, is what the Chinese government is trying to regulate and go after, because you have would-be, scam artists, if you would, basically taking advantage of the general public, and they should be gone after. They should return the public money if they're not really offering any real value to the general public. Now, that being said, there's a level of risk in any of these cryptocurrencies. A cryptocurrency can be worth hundreds of millions today, and theoretically it could be worth 0 6 months from now. But historically, we have the data that would suggest that cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, and others, not only have they not gone to 0, but they have made some of their early adopters extremely wealthy. And that's something that we can't deny. And I don't think that you're going to find those quality projects on the list of cryptocurrencies that the Chinese government is cracking down on.
Okay, so is it safe to say that China is not cracking down on all ICOs?
I would say that, this is still early, right? This news is just coming out, so we have to sit back and see how this all plays out. But as of right now, the information that I've seen and that I've read is that they're being very hard on new ICOs. They're going to have to follow certain protocols, and more specifically, a lot of these recent companies that have created ICOs and have, raised a lot of money, specifically in China, that don't really have, it's just kind of like a fly-by-night. Hey, we're going to make this ICO, we're going to raise a bunch of money, we're going to get people to invest, and there's no real substance there. Those are the ones that are probably going to be cracked down on the hardest. But a lot of these other quality projects, not only are they not going to be affected, in my opinion, they're still thriving, and the market is showing us that. Because if there wasn't a thriving market for the Dashes and the Ethereums and the Litecoins of the world, Litecoin would have crashed. It would have went to, back to $4 or so. Not only did that not happen, but it's still at near an all-time high, the highest that it's ever been in years. Well, it's never been this high. Actually, going back before today, one of the all-time highs of Litecoin was around $50, and that was years ago. We've never seen Litecoin ever this strong in modern history. So it just goes to prove that if this crackdown had any real effect on some of these quality projects, then the price of these quality coins would have plummeted, but they haven't.
Okay, I think the question I was getting at, I think it's my failing to see what initial coin offerings really are. I took it that initial coin offerings are ICOs they are ICOs just as they come into the marketplace. But you're saying that an ICO can also be defined as a currency that's already been in the marketplace for the short term. Is that correct?
Right. I mean, Again, this is going to the point of the article that talks about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies seeing their end. So there's kind of two things that are at play here. I'm addressing the fact that there's a fear mongering going on that's playing off of the news that came out about China and its regulation towards the ICOs and how that's going to affect the broader market. Well, we've seen its effect. It's had very little effect on the broader market. Now, in terms of the ICOs specifically, what I've seen and researched is that there's a major crackdown and focus on all of these coins coming out of the woodwork, where you may not have had. If we can go back to CoinMarketCap real quick, I'm not sure if it's going to show us this, but go to the earlier one that shows from 12 months ago, and go to the other one. Okay, this one. Go to the top. I want to see whether or not it's going to show how many coins. Just see if you can you go up any higher to the top of the page or not? Oh yeah, there I am. That's top. Okay. But go to the one that shows okay. So it's not actually showing this, but there seems to be a greater and greater amount of cryptocurrencies hitting the market seemingly every day. And again, most of these projects are not really worth anything, and long term, they're probably going to go to zero. And so that's what a lot of the regulators are trying to protect the general public against, in my opinion. People are just kind of chasing after the new, latest, greatest cryptocurrency that really may not have any substance there. And so, but in terms of the broad level of ICOs that are coming out, even the ones that are coming out today that have innovation, that have competent development teams behind them, that have real world use cases, they may have to jump through a little bit more hoops now that there's this crackdown. But in terms of them not being able to thrive in the broader market, I don't think that that's going to be the case, primarily because China can't control the cryptocurrency market. They may have some influence on what happens, but they can't stop what's going on in this market at large. Okay, so I think what you were pointing out here, I'm not sure if you're able to see it, but at the very top left, it says 867 currencies. I know that it was about 700 currencies not too long ago. You're pointing out right.
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to continue reading the article now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and continue.
Okay, so additionally, Hong Kong's regulators warn that cryptocurrencies may be securities for legal purposes and that these ICOs may be subject to securities laws. echoing similar rumblings from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This isn't just a passing cloud. This is potentially a big deal. Blockchain technology may be as amazing as its proponents claim, but translating that into financial mania for cryptocurrencies depends on some huge and flawed assumptions. First, among them, the idea that governments are just going to sit by idly and let cryptocurrencies flourish. Sure, cryptocurrencies could be used by all sorts of lovely people for all sorts of lovely things, but shadow, unregulated currencies can also be used by, say, tax evaders, drug dealers, money launderers, and other criminals. Oh yeah, and terrorists, who'd have thought of that? You see,
yeah, I mean, so again, this goes back to the early days of cryptocurrencies. Again, I will return people's attention to the book, and you can go, while we're here, go to Amazon real quick, Amazon.com if you don't mind,
yeah,
and look up the book, Digital Gold.
this one?
That book there. Yeah. So Digital Gold tells about the story of Bitcoin. And, in the early days, you're going to find out a lot about how we've gotten to this point. So the thing with me is I tell people before you start getting heavily involved in this space, you want to educate yourself. Is there regulation coming? Yes, it's inevitable, right? Because we've never seen anything like this in the history of money, in my opinion. Regulators don't know how to deal with it. It's cryptocurrencies are decentralized. They're uncensorable. Okay, you can put laws in place, but you can't stop what's going on here. You have people like Sir Richard Branson, like Bill Gates and others that are saying that cryptocurrency is here to stay. And as much as governments want to try to regulate it, and regulation is not a bad thing, right? Kind of gives some more clarity of what can be and can't be done. And there are companies out there in the cryptocurrency space that want regulation. They don't want necessarily to be told what they can and can't do with the technology in terms of an all-out ban, because at the end of the day, you have one country will ban cryptocurrency, another country will embrace cryptocurrency, and just like companies do today, they will flow to where those, these cryptocurrencies are embraced. It's a technology that lives on the internet, so there's nothing stopping a person from relocating their business or company or project overseas, which we see countries like Dubai and Singapore and Australia embracing cryptocurrencies. And so now a lot of businesses are up and moving there, and people are basically, doing businesses in those countries where it's more favorable to them. But if you look at if you read this book, you're going to find that a lot of the things that are being said in this article were being said 6 and 7 years ago. But at the same time, you have major companies like the PayPals of the world and the Fortresses of the world. Fortress is a major hedge fund company that trades billions of dollars, that secretly and quietly investing in Bitcoin years ago. The Winklevoss twins were buying up a large percentage of the cryptocurrency market, and now these people are starting to come to the forefront and revealing that they are bullish on Bitcoin. They believe it's the future. They believe it's here to stay. But they weren't saying that 6 years ago. What were they doing 6 years ago? They were quietly buying up the market. So we don't know how many millionaires and billionaires are quietly entering into the market today and positioning themselves. And when this kind of news comes out, it causes people to, like I said, panic sell or kind of stay out of the market, while the smarter players, in my opinion, are positioning themselves, and maybe, who knows, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, we'll see a lot of feel-good stories of cryptocurrencies, but people will miss the boat because they're reading negative articles and taking that to form their opinion. I'm not saying don't take the information from articles like this into consideration, but at the same time, kind of look at the whole picture. Why is it that millionaires and billionaires are positioning themselves in this cryptocurrency if they believe that this is the beginning of the end? Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, what you're saying is what I agree 100%. I mean, I see the same type of thing that Goldman Sachs, in the regular financial world, they would actually tell people the opposite of what's actually going on in the market so that they could afford more of it. And that's kind of what you're saying right here, isn't it?
Right. In my opinion, I mean, again, this book is going to offer a lot of clarity because, like I said, the things that you see written about Bitcoin in this article, about the drug dealers and the tax evaders and the nefarious players are the ones that are taking advantage of this technology. Well, I don't think IBM and Microsoft and Tesla are nefarious players. Maybe they are. I'm not sure. But these are the kind of people, or the American Expresses of the world, these are the kind of people that are adopting Bitcoin and blockchain technology and Ethereum and its technology. I think that a nefarious actor, the main currency that they may be using for their nefarious actions is the good old US dollar, not Bitcoin. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, for example, I know that AT&T has created an infrastructure for payment through Bitcoin. They spent a lot of money in doing it. So if Bitcoin goes under, they're out a lot of money, and they're big business, right? They're a big player.
Yeah, I mean, again, American Express about 2 years ago invested $12 million in a company called Abra. You can look that up real quick too. And their goal is to turn everybody's smartphone into an ATM, where you would be able to send payments with the Bitcoin blockchain peer-to-peer anywhere in the world in any currency without a middleman. The company is called Abra. Invested, back, well, I'm not going to say backed by, but American Express put $12 million in seed funding into that company, and now they allow you to buy this ABRA, Abra, like abracadabra.
ABRA?
Yeah. You can just Google Abra Bitcoin. Let me see. And you can now buy Bitcoin directly through the Abra app with your American Express card. So you tie your American Express card to this application, and you can buy Bitcoin directly through the app using American Express. Well, if American Express, a major financial company, thought that this was the beginning of the end, why would they just recently, a few weeks ago, allow people to start buying Bitcoin with American Express and just thought that this was the beginning of the end? This could actually be just the beginning.
Yeah, these are the points that I really wanted to express when you're doing it. All right, so I know that this is going to end, I think, in 40 minutes, isn't it? Like Zoom.
Yeah, I believe so.
We're going to have to get through this here. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Okay. You see, after 9/11, there was a massive international crackdown of financial regulation around the world, including intense pressure on jurisdictions which had previously turned a blind eye to shadow finance and money laundering. It is possible, but extremely unlikely, that financial regulators worldwide are going to wait for another 9/11 to do this again. When these cryptocurrencies were small, it didn't matter. But last week, their total market value hit $150 billion, and this number has been heading up. Do you think governments are going to be okay with a $150 billion financial network that can be used by anyone outside of any oversight? How about 300 billion or 3 trillion? It makes no serious sense. In other words, cryptocurrencies lack precisely the supposed unlimited upside that speculators dream about. The only way we are ever looking at so-called blue sky valuations is if the governments of the world all lose their collective minds. And as for those cryptocurrency fans and their libertarian fantasies, if you think Bitcoin or Ether or whatever is somehow beyond government control because it is so decentralized across so many different computers, think again. Governments may not be able to shut down all the servers, but they don't have to. They can, in theory, ban people and companies under their jurisdiction from buying, selling, trading, or holding these things. Governments can make your cryptocurrencies unconvertible into anything useful. Don't forget, the U.S. government successfully big-footed online poker companies a decade ago, even though those operated from outside any U.S. jurisdiction. Cryptocurrencies are no safer. Those speculating on cyber currencies have now received warnings from the financial regulators of the world's two biggest economies. This looks very much like something coordinated. Regulators do not want to ban something without any warning. If they did, they'd risk hurting many mom and pop investors who are naively taking part. A series of escalating warnings, as we are seeing now, leaves the innocent fewer excuses. Okay. That to me is...
Yeah, I mean, I get what I take from this article, and this is just my perspective, is that it assumes that, number one, the people that are involved in cryptocurrencies are somehow anti-government, that they want to, the government to completely stay out of their business and to do nefarious acts. And to me, that doesn't represent the broader community in cryptocurrency. I think that people in the space, yes, they want to have control over their money that they work for and that they've earned. They want to be able to do business around the globe or send value or utilize the technology the same way a person can make a phone call to anyone, anywhere in the world for virtually no cost. We're doing this. You're where you are in Michigan. I'm here in Las Vegas, and we're having a meeting, and it's not costing us anything. But yeah, if I wanted to send you $20, I got to jump through all kinds of hoops, and it's probably going to cost me too much for me to want to send that, or $5. If I wanted to send you $5, probably going to cost me too much money and too much time to do it. It doesn't make sense. So when we look at the actual usability of this technology for the everyday average person, it's as innovative as the conference that we're doing right now. To me, that represents the bulk of the user base. And as far as governments wanting to crack down and regulate, yes, there's going to be regulation, and there probably should be. Why? Because there are companies out there that are taking advantage of the public and creating these ICOs or these crypto plays, if you will, promising people exorbitant amount of wealth without any real world value and basically hurting folks. Those should be regulated. But in terms of the projects like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, the market is showing us somebody's putting money into these markets, causing these coins to rise. And a lot of the people that are invested are not dumb people. They're people that have done their due diligence. They see the value and they're willing to put their money behind it. And governments can regulate cryptocurrencies all they want to, but the reality of the situation is that you can't censor it, right? Where one country's loss is another country's gain. And unless every country on the planet Earth all decide that, you know what, we don't want to take advantage of this technology, we want to go back to doing things the old way that doesn't seem to be very efficient and doesn't work really well. And I just don't see that happening. You know, it hasn't happened yet. And every time an article comes out like this, cryptocurrency just shrugs it off and gets stronger and becomes worth more and more and more. I would challenge people to go and do your research and look at how many articles that have been put out over the years. The death of Bitcoin, this is the end. This is the nail in the coffin. Bitcoin is getting ready to go to zero. It's happened year after year after year, but yet year after year after year, Bitcoin continues to get stronger. More people get in the space. More businesses utilize the technology. So at some point, we have to really just look at the facts of what's actually been happening versus what we're being told to believe.
Yeah, and by the way, when you look at the comments, underneath this article, that's what a lot of these people say. They've been saying this for years, and it has never happened. So to somebody who's concerned about, well, should I invest in Bitcoin? Because of all these government regulations, what would be the bottom line statement that you'd say?
Well, I mean, I will tell folks that, again, across the board, number one, any kind of investment any kind of investment because there's not enough emphasis put on this. It doesn't matter if you decide one day that you wanted to start a restaurant or make t-shirts. You're investing your time and money in that business, and it's a risk. You're taking a risk no matter what investment you make in anything that has to do with finances. So number one, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, and don't invest in anything that you don't understand. Taking the information, going and learning about what's going on is not going to cost you any money. It's just going to cost you your time. As you've done your due diligence and your research and you feel confident in what you're doing, that this is an opportunity and you have capital, funds, savings, or whatever the case may be that you can afford to take a risk on, then that's probably where I would start. Those of us that have done so can tell you from our own personal experience that we've done very well, but it came after doing research and making sure that we had the risk capital to get involved. We weren't looking to chase riches. We just looked at the facts and said that this was worthwhile for us, and it was a smart call on our part. Am I continuing to be in the cryptocurrency space? Absolutely. Do I personally believe that we're going to continue to see these cryptocurrencies go up in value? Absolutely, I do. So do your due diligence. Make sure that you understand the risk that you have, and after weighing that, then make a decision accordingly. That's what I would say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Damien. I think that's great advice, and I think we're almost out of time here. So I think we've gotten through the article. It just goes on to say there were signs on Tuesday that crypto fans are betting that this too will pass. Currencies and tokens bounced sharply after the sell-off. And while Bitcoin now is well below its peak of almost $5,000 hit last weekend, it's still up a storming 35% over the past month. Crypto mania may continue for now. Traders will be watching the charts to see how the trends develop, but the long-term investment story looks like another matter. The risks are rising.
Yeah, then the last point that I would make is when you look at the use cases for the cryptocurrency, if I had to do this all over again, which is where I'm at now, I look at the underlying technology and the value that these particular projects brings, and is it something that I would use? So if it's a platform and an actual service or product that I would use anyway, and this cryptocurrency makes it efficient for me to do those things, whether it be sending my family money or getting involved in, gaming. So like, for example, I'm a gamer, and there's cryptocurrencies that have brought gaming to the blockchain and make it more fun and more innovative and more, efficient. So those are the kind of things that I tell people to start with. Start with where you're passionate at. Do your due diligence on these cryptocurrencies. And if it's an actual product or service that you would actually use and believe in, that might not be a bad place to start because you actually believe in the underlying technology that's running that platform.
So relative to what you just said, what would be the underlying technology for Bitcoin itself, just as a mode of currency, correct?
Right. I mean, on the surface, Bitcoin is used as a payment system, peer-to-peer, decentralized. If you're a merchant and you accept Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about chargebacks. The fees are very inexpensive. And long-term, Bitcoin, if you're using it as a store of value, historically has continued to go up and up and up in value. So one thing that you may do is if you have savings, instead of saving all your money in fiat, you may allocate a little bit of your savings towards Bitcoin. You are saving the money anyway. If you save a small portion of it in Bitcoin, long term, you might come out a little bit ahead than just saving all of your money in dollars, euros, yen, or whatever the case may be. But if you peel back the surface of the technology of Bitcoin and the blockchain, there's a lot of things that can be built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. Anything digital can be actually built on Bitcoin. So messaging services, video services, artwork, music, the list goes on and on. And there's companies that are taking advantage of the Bitcoin blockchain to put other things beyond just money, data, files, artwork, video, and all kind of other digital assets on the Bitcoin blockchain that you can take advantage of as well.
Okay, our screen sharing has paused. Okay. All right, I think we're at the end here, bro. Does the red dot flashing mean we're at the end?
It looks like we're still recording, but you probably only have a few seconds left.
Okay, all right. So I just thank you for your time, Damien. And we're going to get this video out far and wide, hopefully. And I'm going to use it in a very beneficial manner for other people who have been asking these questions. So hopefully until next time, we'll hopefully do this again on other parts of the cryptocurrency world. So thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.